To build a mind so strong that nothing will ever hurt you again, you must first understand that the battlefield is within. Every challenge, every insult, every betrayal you experience in life only has the power you give it through your interpretation. Pain does not primarily arise from external events, but from the way your mind processes them. If someone criticizes you, it is not their words that wound you, but your attachment to what they mean. If you lose a job, it is not the event itself that breaks you, but the narrative you create around it. Fear of failure, loss of security, or feelings of inadequacy. Therefore, the first step in building an unshakable mind is learning to see events for what they are: neutral occurrences, rather than emotional weapons. When you stop labeling every experience as good or bad, you take away its ability to control you. This practice is rooted in Stoicism and mindfulness. Control what you can, accept what you cannot, and focus only on your response. Over time, this detachment will build a foundation so strong that storms of life may rage around you, but inside you remain calm and steady, untouchable by the chaos. The mind is a constant stream of conversation with itself, and this internal dialogue can either be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. People often suffer not because of what happens, but because of the stories they repeat inside their heads. If your inner voice constantly tells you that you are not good enough, every small failure will feel like confirmation of that belief. On the other hand, if your inner dialogue is empowering, compassionate, and focused on growth, no external attack can penetrate your peace. To build mental strength, you must master self-talk. This means becoming aware of the words you use when speaking to yourself and replacing negative patterns with constructive ones. Instead of saying, "I can't handle this," you learn to say, "This is hard, but I will find a way." Instead of repeating, "Why does this always happen to me?" you ask, "What lesson is life teaching me here?" Over time, your self-talk becomes a shield. Every negative thought from the outside world bounces off, because the inner voice you trust most, your own, reminds you of your worth, strength, and resilience. Building an invincible mind requires emotional discipline. Many people confuse emotional strength with emotional suppression, but they are not the same. Suppression is pushing feelings down until they explode later, while discipline is acknowledging emotions without allowing them to dictate your actions. If someone insults you, emotional weakness makes you react in anger. Emotional suppression makes you pretend you are unaffected but still burn inside. True strength is recognizing the insult, understanding it does not define you, and responding with calm indifference or silence. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop allowing emotions to control your choices. One of the most powerful practices for this is the pause. Before reacting to anything, give yourself a breath, a moment of silence, a space to choose. This simple pause creates distance between stimulus and response, giving you control over your life. With time, you begin to realize that no one can force you into emotional turmoil without your consent. This awareness is the core of building a mind that cannot be hurt. For you recognize that your peace is in your hands, not in the actions of others. Every person will experience pain, but not everyone will transform it into strength. The difference lies in perspective. When you experience betrayal, loss, or failure, you face a choice to let the event break you or to let it build you. Strong minds are not born from comfort. They are forged in adversity. To build a mind so resilient that nothing can hurt it, you must treat every painful experience as training. Just as a muscle grows stronger under resistance, the mind grows unbreakable when it learns to adapt, endure, and overcome. For example, failure in a career can either destroy confidence or ignite reinvention. Heartbreak can either lead to bitterness or teach independence and self-respect. Betrayal can either harden you with distrust or sharpen your ability to see truth in others. By reframing pain as a lesson rather than a punishment, you strip it of its ability to control you. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Over time, Life's difficulties become stepping stones to mastery, and each wound transforms into armor that makes you unshakable. One of the greatest sources of mental suffering is attachment, clinging to people, possessions, and outcomes as if your happiness depends on them. When you are overly attached to how life should unfold, every disappointment becomes unbearable. If someone leaves, if a plan fails, or if a dream does not materialize, you feel broken because you tied your identity to what you could not control. To build a mind so strong that nothing can hurt you again, you must master the art of letting go. This does not mean giving up on dreams or people. It means holding them lightly, knowing that nothing external is permanent. People may change, money may disappear, opportunities may vanish, but your inner peace can remain untouched if it is not chained to those things. Letting go is freedom. It allows you to flow with life rather than fight it. When you stop demanding that life follow your script, you become flexible, adaptable, and calm in the face of change. And when nothing owns you, nothing can break you. A mind that cannot be hurt begins with deep self-awareness. Most people live on autopilot, reacting to situations without ever examining why they feel the way they do. They confuse surface emotions with core truths, and because of this, they remain vulnerable to every external push. But when you take the time to understand yourself, your triggers, fears, desires, and insecurities, you gain the ability to master them. For instance, if criticism deeply wounds you, perhaps it is because you secretly doubt your worth. Once you see this clearly, the criticism no longer holds power. Instead, it becomes a mirror reflecting where you need to grow. Self-awareness is not about judgment but about clarity. It allows you to catch the lies your mind tells you and replace them with truths. When you know who you are, no one can define you. When you know what you value, no one can manipulate you. And when you understand your inner world, the outer world loses its grip. Self-awareness is the light that makes the shadows of fear and doubt disappear. Discipline is the bridge between intention and reality. A strong mind is not built in moments of inspiration, but in consistent practice. Just as you train your body through exercise, you must train your mind through habits that strengthen resilience. Discipline means doing what you know you should, even when you do not feel like it. It is waking up early to meditate, reading when you want to scroll, choosing calm words when anger tempts you. Every disciplined choice is like a brick laid in the fortress of your mind. Over time, these bricks create walls so strong that external storms cannot penetrate. Discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. When you master discipline, you no longer become a slave to impulses, emotions, or circumstances. You take charge of yourself fully, and in that mastery lies unshakable peace. Without discipline, even the wisest knowledge crumbles under pressure. With discipline, even small daily practices accumulate into lifelong strength. Your perspective is your greatest weapon against suffering. Life will always contain challenges, losses, and unfairness. What determines whether they crush you or strengthen you is the lens through which you see them. Two people can face the same hardship. One sees it as a curse, the other as an opportunity, and their outcomes will be completely different. Building a strong mind means training yourself to choose empowering perspectives. When something goes wrong, instead of thinking, "This is the end," you can see it as, "This is a new beginning." Instead of saying, "I lost," you say, "I learned." This shift may sound simple, but it changes everything, because pain without perspective is unbearable, while pain with perspective becomes meaningful. Even death, loss, or failure cannot destroy someone who sees them through a lens of acceptance and growth. Perspective does not erase difficulty, but it transforms it into wisdom. And when you see life through this armor, nothing can strike deep enough to break you. Noise surrounds us everywhere. Social media, opinions, arguments, constant stimulation. But the strongest minds are those that can find silence within, regardless of the external noise. Inner silence is not emptiness, it is clarity. A state where the mind is not shaken by every distraction. To cultivate this, you must practice solitude, meditation, or simply mindful stillness. Spend time away from the rush of life to hear your own thoughts clearly. In silence, you discover that most problems lose their weight when you stop feeding them with constant attention. Inner silence makes you unshakable because you no longer react immediately to everything outside. Instead, you respond from a place of calm clarity. Just as a calm lake reflects the sky perfectly, while a stormy sea distorts it, your mind reflects reality more accurately when it is quiet. When you build this silence inside, chaos outside can scream, but it will never disturb your peace. One of the greatest sources of suffering is the ego, the fragile identity that constantly seeks validation, recognition, and superiority. The ego is easily wounded by insults, rejection, or failure because it lives on external approval. To build a mind that cannot be hurt, you must loosen the grip of ego. This does not mean erasing your identity, but rather detaching from the need to constantly defend or prove it. When someone insults you, the ego demands retaliation, but a strong mind recognizes that insult reflects the other person, not you. When you fail, the ego feels humiliated, but a resilient mind sees failure as feedback. The less you identify with ego, the harder it is for life to hurt you, because nothing external defines your worth. True strength comes when you no longer need to be seen as important, superior, or perfect. You simply exist, whole and at peace, regardless of what others think. Ego is fragile, self-awareness is unbreakable. Nothing in life is permanent. People leave, seasons change, health declines, and circumstances evolve. Much of human suffering comes from resisting this truth, clinging to permanence in a world that is constantly shifting. A strong mind is built on the acceptance of impermanence. When you embrace the fact that everything changes, you stop fearing loss, because you know it is part of life's rhythm. Instead of being shocked when relationships end or opportunities fade, you flow with the current, adapting and finding strength in change. Accepting impermanence frees you from desperation. It allows you to enjoy the present fully without clinging. Like a tree that bends with the wind but does not break, you become flexible and unshakable. Pain may still touch you, but it will not destroy you, because you understand it is temporary. Nothing hurts forever when you realize nothing lasts forever. Many people are prisoners of beliefs they never chose, ideas planted by parents, society, culture, or past experiences. These beliefs often dictate how much suffering they experience. For example, if you believe, "I must be loved by everyone to be worthy," then rejection will always devastate you. If you believe, "Failure makes me worthless," every setback will crush you. To build an unbreakable mind, you must identify and reprogram limiting beliefs. Replace "I am not enough" with "I am complete as I am." Replace "The world is against me" with "Every challenge shapes me." The subconscious mind accepts repetition, so the more you affirm empowering beliefs, the more they become your reality. When your beliefs are rooted in strength, no external event can shake your foundation. You do not control everything that happens, but you control the meaning you assign to it, and meaning is what determines whether pain becomes weakness or wisdom. Impatience is often the root of suffering. People want quick results, instant healing, immediate recognition, and fast solutions. When life takes longer than expected, they feel frustrated and broken. But a strong mind is patient, understanding that growth, healing, and success are processes, not events. Patience allows you to endure hardship without losing hope, to wait without anxiety, and to persist without giving up. Patience transforms obstacles into stepping stones because it sees time as an ally rather than an enemy. Every seed takes time to grow, and so does strength. By practicing patience, you learn to trust the journey, knowing that struggles today are shaping resilience tomorrow. Nothing can hurt you deeply when you know that even pain is temporary and progress is inevitable with persistence. Patience is quiet strength, and it makes the mind unbreakable. No mind exists in isolation. We are influenced by the environments and people around us. To build a mind that cannot be hurt, you must carefully choose the company you keep. Negative, toxic, or fearful people will weaken your spirit, while supportive, wise, and disciplined individuals will strengthen it. This does not mean isolating yourself from everyone who struggles, but rather recognizing the impact of energy exchange. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to grow, who embody resilience, who inspire rather than drain you. The conversations you have daily shape your thoughts, and your thoughts shape your strength. Even one strong influence can shift your entire mindset. Choose books, mentors, and environments that nurture resilience, and you will find yourself becoming unshakable almost naturally. Strength is contagious when you are around the right people. A mind becomes invincible when it is anchored in purpose. Without a higher reason for living, every hardship feels pointless, and suffering easily overwhelms you. But when you have a purpose, a mission, a dream, or a value greater than yourself, you endure pain with meaning. Soldiers endure unimaginable hardship because of love for their country. Parents sacrifice endlessly because of love for their children. And creators push through failure because of love for their vision. Purpose turns suffering into fuel rather than poison. To build a strong mind, you must ask, what is my purpose? What values do I stand for? What gives my life meaning? Once you have clarity, nothing can break you, because every challenge becomes a test of how deeply you live your purpose. Pain without purpose is unbearable, but pain with purpose is transformative. With purpose, even wounds become part of the journey toward greatness. Most suffering arises not from the present, but from regrets about the past or fears about the future. The past cannot be changed, and the future cannot be controlled, yet the mind constantly dwells in both, creating unnecessary pain. A strong mind learns to anchor itself in the present. When you focus fully on the now, you realize that most of your fears are illusions, projections of what might happen rather than what is happening. The present moment is often simple, manageable, and even peaceful. Through practices like mindfulness, deep breathing, or grounding exercises, you train your mind to stay here rather than drift into anxiety or regret. The present moment is where your power lies. When you master it, no shadow of the past or storm of the future can hurt you. You become untouchable, because your strength exists exactly where life unfolds. In the now, fear is one of the greatest barriers to mental strength. Fear of rejection, failure, loss, or uncertainty keeps people fragile. But the truth is, fear is not something you eliminate. It is something you face and move through. A strong mind acknowledges fear but refuses to be ruled by it. Every time you step into fear, it loses its power over you. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite it. When you repeatedly practice courage, fear becomes familiar, and familiarity makes it less threatening. This is how you become unshakable, not by living without fear, but by living beyond it. Fear cannot hurt you if you see it as a teacher rather than an enemy. Each time you confront it, you build another layer of resilience, and soon nothing can intimidate you enough to break you. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools for building mental resilience. When you focus on what you lack, you feel weak and incomplete. When you focus on what you have, you feel abundant and strong. Gratitude shifts your attention from pain to possibility. Even in hardship, there are things to be grateful for. A lesson learned, a person who cares, the strength to endure another day. Gratitude does not deny suffering, but it balances it with perspective. A grateful mind is difficult to hurt because it constantly finds light in darkness. When life takes something away, gratitude reminds you of what remains. When difficulties arise, gratitude reveals the hidden gifts inside them. By practicing daily gratitude, you train your mind to look for strength rather than weakness, for blessings rather than burdens, and in that shift lies invincibility. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, manage, and channel emotions, both your own and others. Without it, you are vulnerable to manipulation, misunderstanding, and unnecessary conflict. With it, you become untouchable because you no longer react blindly. You know why you feel what you feel, and you can express it constructively. You can read the emotions of others without absorbing them, allowing you to remain calm, even when surrounded by chaos. Emotional intelligence is the armor that keeps relationships from becoming sources of suffering. Because instead of clashing in anger or resentment, you navigate with understanding. It is not about being emotionless, but about being emotionally wise. When you master this skill, no insult, no argument, and no emotional storm can throw you off balance. You stand steady, strong, and clear, regardless of the turbulence around you. Ultimately, building a mind so strong that nothing will ever hurt you again is not about avoiding pain. It is about transforming it. Pain will always exist, but suffering is optional when you build resilience, self-awareness, discipline, perspective, and purpose. A strong mind accepts life as it is, not as it wishes it to be. It does not crumble under pressure, but grows sharper, calmer, and wiser. Such a mind cannot be controlled by external events, because its power comes from within. You may still feel pain, but it will never own you. You may face loss, but it will not destroy you. You may encounter fear, but it will not stop you. This is the ultimate strength, not invulnerability, but mastery. When you cultivate this strength, you walk through life untouchable, free, and unbreakable. Nothing and no one can hurt you deeply again, because you have built the greatest fortress, a resilient, disciplined, and fearless mind.